Welcome back, baby. It's Third Down. I'm your host, T. Wayne the Don. It is the middle of the week report. Woo! This is probably my favorite show out the 3 shows I do a week because I could be so free with what I want to talk about today. Off the jump, we will talk about the New Orleans Saints. Vegas has gave them a 15-point lead for Sunday's game against the New York Jets. That's going to happen in the Superdome this weekend. Also, we'll talk a little bit about the Pelicans, how the Pelicans continue to do amazing things on the basketball court, but they still can't finish ball games. So that's going to probably be our main 2 topics of the day. Really don't have too much for you today, but I do want to talk about something that's pertaining to St. Mary Parish. And also, I want to talk about this lawsuit situation that I heard about with a Morgan City man that is suing the New Orleans Saints. That man is Lee Dragner, from what I've been told. Lee Dragner, I gotta let the music play for this one. Lee Dragner is a man who holds a lot of power in Morgan City. And Lee Dragner is suing the Saints due to all the confusion with the kneeling of the national anthem of his money. He wants his money back. My problem with that is, I'm sorry if I offend anybody with this. Lee Dragner's son just a few weeks ago was calling people niggas, and I don't think he's going to win this lawsuit, because if they find this out and they calling people niggas, and if this whole protest is dealing with black people, Lee Dragner is going to be out the building. So we just going to leave that alone about Lee Dragner. But I want to talk about high school football in St. Mary Parish. It's not looking too good. So off the jump, let's talk about, which I remember about that Webby. Let's talk about St. Mary Parish football right now. Let's remember the playoffs just ended. I want to make a big shout out to the Zachary Broncos, my cousin alma mater, Daryl Dewey. Make sure y'all check him out on YouTube, Maturing Quietly. They went back to back this past weekend as they defeated the Hineville Tigers, which I kind of thought Hineville was going to win that ball game. But shout out to them. They went back to back to win their second state title in 2 years. Now, let's talk about St. Mary Parish. There are 3 jobs are open in St. Mary Parish right now. There's the Franklin job, there's the Patterson High School job, and there it is official. Morgan City High School is back on the market again. Now, they're back on the market again. Now, let me talk about this, because this is starting to be a shame that high schools start to go through coaches like draws, in so many words. Now, let's talk about Patterson High first. Now, Patterson High, over the years, let's remember, Tommy Minton left to go to Central Catholic. Mark Blanchard took over after Tommy Minton. Now, he was under Minton and the program and the culture. Patterson was still a relevant team in the division of 3A. They were still making second and third round appearances under Mark Blanchard. Now, Blanchard left and he went back to Destrehan. He's no longer the head coach of Patterson High School. Patterson High, I can't excuse me for not having his name in front of me. Patterson High, the guy that was from Oklahoma who was taking his team to the semifinals consistently for the last couple of years. He is from North Louisiana. I do remember that about him, but he only lasted 1 year, so that's probably why I don't remember the guy's name. Only lasted 1 year. He left. So this past season, Patterson hired another coach, and he decided to leave because of political reason. Now, when I'm gonna use this term again. When I say political reason, I'm not talking about politics inside of the real government system. I'm talking about politics dealing with the principal and trying to make things work together between principal and especially if you're the athletic director, working together to make your programs work. There was a lot of problems coming from the front office with political issues, as in they couldn't work together. So Patterson is now also looking for another head coach. And this is the one I want to get on the most. Morgan City High School is officially, for the second straight year, Morgan City is on the verge to look for another head coach. Now, this is my problem. Jesus. Morgan City. I started high school. My first day of high school, I believe, was August 4th or 5th, 2008. It is almost 2 weeks from now. It's going to be 2018. So I started high school 10 years ago. It's crazy. Started high school 10 years ago. My head coach for 2 seasons was Mark Millett. Okay, Millett left out going into my junior year. He went on here to be the defensive coordinator at Patterson High School. Brett Bonifaz came in for like a semester and a half, and he was the head coach until he didn't handle his business with everybody not be cleared to play for a jamboree the day before the jamboree. Okay, so then Brandon Nolan became our head coach. So I played for 3 head coaches in the time span of 4 years. All right, so Nolan became our head coach. So when Nolan left, and I'm gonna go back and explain to everybody tendency. Nolan left, Coach L'Oreal was the coach. Then when Coach L'Oreal left, then Coach Scott Traeger was the coach. And now after Scott Traeger was fired, after he left, then they had Coach, I think his name is Herman, I believe. I think that's his name. I'm not too sure. And he is no longer the head coach for Morgan City High School. So let me break down from each one's tenure. Mark Millett he's from Crowley, Louisiana. So he's from the western part around Lafayette part of Louisiana. He was, I believe, as a record, I remember them talking about this for years, 13-31 as the head coach of Morgan City High School. Didn't get a lot done. His best season was 5-5 in the 2007-2008 season. Didn't win a district game, from my understanding. Really wasn't. He was stuck in a lot of old school ways. He tried to bring in a new school flavor with Chris Towery, who miserably failed. Let me tell you something. I love that guy. He can really work my nerves sometimes. Chris Towery, I really do love that guy. I respect because he has a mind. He got a football mind out this world. But at the end of the day, the problem with Coach Towery, and as I always gonna be, and I'm just always stick with it, is that his ego was so big, and he never really humbled himself. And I really and truly love the guy because he really dropped a lot of knowledge on. If you really sat there and paid attention to what he would say, he dropped knowledge on you like a nothing. And if you don't sit there and really study it and really pay attention, it's gonna blow right past your head. But he's really a high IQ footballer guy. His ego was his only problem as a coach. So Millett tried to bring him in to save our team, and it didn't work. Our offensive coordinator, wound quitting up on us in the middle of the season. So we went back to the offense we was running year prior, back to the wing. It was just a whole mess. It was time for a fresh start, and I get that. It really was time for a fresh start. So that's when we brought in Brett Bonifaz. We brought in Bonifaz. Brett, who had a high-power offense. He was very quick. He wanted to throw the football. He wanted speed on the outside and the perimeters. He wanted his running back to be kind of solid. Granted, I think when he got there, he inherited Troy Smith. Troy Smith was more of an inside guy. He was more contact type of running back compared to what he probably wanted, more of a guy that could be more shifty, like to get to the outside. But that wasn't his game, but he inherited him. That was his style. We played a scrimmage against Franklin, and we put up 40 points in the scrimmage. The week before the Jamboree against Patterson High School, we handled our business. Now, problem is, when it came down to the day of, we was at the volleyball jamboree, our coach was fired because he didn't turn in the physical papers and for us to be eligible to play the next day against Patterson High School. So in so many words, we would have to forfeit a win to Patterson High and also pay a fine to the state of Louisiana. And Mr. Favre, that was our principal, he did not go so well with that at the time. So Brett was fired. So that's when Nolan, who at the time was our defensive coordinator, and he came in, and he would been the head coach ever since. That's probably been the best thing that happened to Morgan City in my eyes, because he really was truly the glue that really ran that team when Bonifaz was there. And I have to say that about him. So I'd say Nolan came in. Nolan was probably the best thing that happened for Morgan City. Now let's talk about Brandon Nolan. Brandon Nolan is a mini, I call him as a mini Nick Saban prodigy. Brandon Nolan played LSU at He played at LSU under Nick Saban, and also Jimbo Fisher, and there were some other great coaches in the game of college that he played under at LSU back in 2003 to win a national championship over Oklahoma. Nolan was very, very similar to his role models in college. Very multiple offense. Had a no tolerance for BS. You can ask a lot of guys that play for him. He do not put up with BS. He will cut you in a heartbeat. You got to be dedicated to him and have to buy into him in his system to really make it work. The reason why Nolan left was politics, like I just told you with the Patterson situation. Same thing has happened with Morgan City. They had politic reasons in the front office with Mr. Mickey Fobb and Brandon Nolan didn't get along with each other. So Nolan decided to go to the college route to go be a tight ends coach at Nichols, and it just he found finishing getting his degree at Nichols at the same time. So it made more sense. It was a business move. I understand that. He got out of there when it was time. So then after Nolan left, here come Coach L'Oreal. Coach L'Oreal went 0-10. Yeah, was misunderstood. Don't need to be explained on that. And what I'm trying to get to is when Nolan was there in his tenure as the head coach at Morgan City High for 3 years, he was 11-18 as the head coach. Probably the best thing that happened to Morgan City in the year of the 2000 era, from all the way up to now, that you had a coach that was 11-18, who actually built the foundations. His 2 years after his first year inheriting the program, his next 2 years he went 5-5 and 4-5 as the head coach of Morgan City. Not too bad. So we just, it's unfortunate. But the next coach just came in and he just doodled up the place. You know what I'm saying? So then here come Coach Scott Triggle. Scott Triggle comes in, and also Scott was there for 3 years. At the beginning, he was doing some good things. He was trying to make the things, turn around. And then he had some scheduling issues, scheduling bad people who really didn't give the team PowerPoints. And I think a lot of people that I used to talk to said he was too stubborn about his offense. They really didn't switch up the offense. The offense was too old school. It needed to get more modernized. And all in all, he's not a bad guy at all. He really is a good guy. I just think he has some type of issues where he should have just really focused on trying to understand and really get used to more modernize his offense. I think he probably was still there because he truly cares about Morgan City. Like, that's, to me, should have been the guy after Nolan instead of going to Coach L'Oreal. And then this guy, Coach Herman, I believe that's his name. This guy, from what I've been told, has fed the school a lot of lies. And now that the school is fed up with it, so we officially about a week away from the semester is ending in this semester, from the winter semester ending, going into the spring semester in January. Morgan City got to find another guy to come back in and teach more philosophies and try to feed these kids as quick as possible to get them ready for another football season in August. And they just not the only one, Patterson as well. This is not great culture of football in St. Mary Parish. Everywhere else, especially the state championship game, a lot of Baton Rouge schools area won state titles this year. This parish is dead. And when we were at the track yesterday, and they had a junior high. The junior high came out and played PE, and I'm just looking at some of the guys that's going to be representing the class of 4A in Morgan City. They don't even look half of athletes to be competing in 4A. They just skinny. They look nerdy. They look like they don't have no type of athletic ability. Look how I'm talking about these people cheering. But I'm just being honest. There's like one or two that stands out from the rest. This parish and this town has turned into a participation. They want their kids to play so much that they don't have no type of competitive ego and trying to get better. This will never get better no time soon unless a true coach really come in and change it. I'm hoping for Morgan City, Patterson, and Franklin that they really sit down and just don't hurry up a guy to come in and take the spot. You sit down, you do your homework, you find a guy that's really going to turn around these programs and keep these programs relevant. Because I'm going to say it like this, Burke has hit their high and they're about to hit right back low because they're losing a lot of talent. We're going to see how good coach this guy is in Berwick and if he can really keep this team flowing. If he can keep this team flowing, Burke going to lose their coach because he can actually coach. So it's kind of it's a little tricky right now, guys.